Here we go again. Ed D'Souza coming at you from NECANN 2019. I keep on saying that we have some special guests coming on and this and that, but this man here, Stu Zakim, it's a pleasure to sit next to you.
Thank you. Nice to meet you, Ed.
Hey, nice to meet you, man.
Thanks for having me.
You're doing a lot of good for the cannabis community. Tell me what you're doing about cannabis in your state.
Well, so New Jersey, tomorrow is a really big day because we vote. The bill's in front of the Senate and the Assembly, and if they get enough votes, it's going to go to the governor for signature,
Yep.
who is the guy who made it happen or trying to make it happen.
Sure.
So the turnaround will be
He actually
relative.
ran off of that platform.
That was what he got into office. Me and all of my colleagues voted for him for that reason.
Yes.
He's also a fresher taste than Chris Christie, so it's a really win for both of us.
Well, he can go sit on the beach now that he doesn't have to.
Absolutely, absolutely. But no, so whether it's Jersey or Massachusetts or Washington or Colorado, anywhere, what I really am about is, as a PR person, using my skills to work with the media so we can help educate people about cannabis.
And you've got I mean, I don't even know the word to say the amount of media that you've been in.
Yes.
I mean, you're on TV, you're in the print. I mean,
Yeah.
let's. How do you do it all?
Well, first of all, it's a passion of mine.
Yeah.
You know, cannabis as a whole, I've been a supporter for many years. And as the market has evolved, there's a role to help educate people about
Sure.
it. There's a lot of misinformation out there and propaganda. And it's been done for many years. So that stuff is hammered into people's minds.
Yep.
And the only way we can eradicate the stigma that comes as a result of that is by educating them
Yes.
with voices that help them make a balanced decision.
Yep.
So it's no longer the sky is falling, the evil weed. Let's use the medical benefits that we know are real and proven
Yeah.
to help as a vehicle to turn people around.
Yep.
And when you tell one of those stories, whether it's about a kid or someone whose life had cancer as an adult and they started using cannabis, and more importantly, especially now, is getting off of opiates.
Yes.
How people are using it, how
It's-
rehab centers are now
it's an
advocating
epidemic.
this. And getting people using cannabis to get them off of
Yep.
opiates, it flips the whole gateway theory around. Which used to be cannabis was a gateway to other drugs. Now it's a gateway out of other drugs.
I like that because I use that an awful lot when people say, well, it's still a gateway drug. Well, yes, it's a gateway to where?
Right.
I mean, so I like that you see this side of the cannabis community and you're helping to eradicate the stigma. Does this weekend strengthen that faith? Because look, we had a cheerleading convention
Yeah, I know.
parallel to
Yes.
NECANN,
Yes,
but it went smoothly.
absolutely.
So that whole threat of what about the children is really abolished because, listen, I mean, there were kids from what, maybe 3 or 4 to teenagers outside there.
Right.
Nobody were handing them joints. People were respectful when they were outside
Right.
walking by, and
Well, this is what people need to understand about the cannabis community. We are people who love to engage in the product. It doesn't make us bad people.
No.
It doesn't make us violent. Now, if you look at a bar, and on a night where you have a hockey game or a football game or
Yeah.
a basketball game, and where a Boston team is playing, especially playoff bound, and look what happened at the parade after,
I was
after
just
the
gonna
Super
bring
Bowl,
that up.
right? You get a lot of pushback here every year about the Freedom Rally
Yep.
and how Boston Common is left. And I happen to agree, it was disgusting what happened last year.
absolutely.
Optics,
Yep.
horrendous. It only reinforces a negative stereotype of the stoner,
Yep.
not today's consumer.
Yep.
Flash, however, a couple months later, where people are sloshed and fighting in the street
Exactly.
as there's the Super Bowl parade.
The Red Sox parade and the Super Bowl
Right, and the Red Sox
Patriots
parade, someone threw something and
Yep.
broke the statue.
Well, actually, Tom Brady had to save his daughter from getting hit with a beer can. I mean, that was unbelievable.
No, so the people say, oh, that's great. Oh, the boys will be boys and stuff like that. However, would you ever see that at a cannabis event?
No, I haven't.
No, we'd applaud. We'd be really cool about it, though. And it's a whole lifestyle and a way of being. People don't see it that way. So when you have opportunities like this, where you compare and contrast, if you had a camera crew at the Freedom Rally,
Yep.
regardless of the way the grounds were left, what was the mood like there? You had how many people?
It was congested. It was
But
peace and love.
were
It
people
was-
like stepping on each other and get out of my way?
No.
Or none of that. Really
No.
cool. So, I mean, when you show examples like that, it has to help, I mean, in my mind, try and turn those people around.
Yes.
The more examples we can, as using the media. And yesterday I moderated a panel here on cannabis in the media.
Oh, well, how did it go?
It went really well. We had a great panel of reporters, and the questions were more or less intelligent.
Yep.
Because we're trying to explain how, even though their role is not to advocate, their role is to educate.
Yes.
So if they're open-minded to what's out there information-wise, they're the vehicle that we use to reach people on the other side.
Exactly.
And so when you collaborate that way, it's only in this space, because I've worked in other industries. I worked in the film business for a long time. I worked in magazines. I worked in television. That sense of collaboration does not exist.
Oh, really?
Competition is. Here, I mean, competition is here as well.
Competition is sneaking in.
Right.
Well, not sneaking in. It's saying, here we are, try to compete with us. So.
Right. But as an industry, however, as each state legalization passes along, now we're looking at us in another way, which it's as a voting bloc. And I think we're going to play a really large role in the 2020 election.
It's funny you say that, because right now, this is the first time that we've had both sides not opposing, the idea of legalizing marijuana.
Well, we don't know really where the Republicans stand, because today could change tomorrow because of Trump. But during the campaign, he said he was okay. He looked at it as a states' rights issue, not a federal issue, which is fine. But I can't count on him for anything. He may use it as a tool to try and get voters to support him, however, by advocating for it. Because we know he has no scruples. So if he sees that as a way to make his ends, he's going to do it. But on the Democratic side, last time around, Hillary Clinton never really said what her policy was.
Yes.
She danced around the issue, didn't want to address it or be held hostage to anything. And there's a lot of supposition that had she been a little more vocal about it, she could have gotten some of those Bernie voters who didn't come out, who are believers in legalization of cannabis. So now you've seen, we have 13 or 14 candidates now, I lose count. Most of them have a very specific plank about legalization of cannabis.
Well, I believe Cory Booker.
He was first. He was first out.
And he was trying to do it in your state as well.
Right. Well, so as we go back to Jersey for Monday, it's been a long road. And what we've been doing there, as opposed to Massachusetts, where it was a voter initiative, in New Jersey, it's a legislative initiative.
So they're doing what Vermont did.
Exactly the same thing, which is why it's taken a little longer, but we're not backing into it the way Massachusetts did. We have the voters just say it's
You mean back in the way Massachusetts is still doing.
Still doing, that's correct. As we speak, right, we have a new dispensary that just opened in Brookline.
Yes.
I mean, it's big news, but my God, that should have been happening a year ago. 2 years ago.
Well, whenever I go in front of the commission, I always bring up the same thing. Why didn't they license cultivators like myself to supply to the stores that are opening up, as opposed to opening up the stores with nothing to offer?
Right.
So
that's why New Jersey are actually doing it right. The awarding of licenses, the next round is going to be for cultivation, because you can't expand the number of retail outlets if you don't have supply. Now, until now, it's been a vertical business, so each retailer had to have his own stuff.
That's how the medical was in Massachusetts.
And it was okay. We only have 6 dispensaries in the whole state. And so supply is already short, and we've more than doubled the number of patients in the last year since Murphy became governor.
Yes.
So you still have the same number of dispensaries growing a little more product, but for double the patient size. So if you don't get to your dispensary the day they drop some new strain, it's gone.
Sure.
But however, from a pricing perspective, special of the day, 20 off. As a senior, I get a 10% discount, so I can get an eighth of clean, tested product for $43. 7 pre-rolls.
That is
$43.
See, that's what I wish Massachusetts would really put into play. I'm pushing for an avenue where, as a cultivator, if you do business with me, say you buy 10 pounds from me, I would give you a pound to designate to people of low poverty, veterans with PTSD, the patients that are or elderly, because medicine's expensive. And a lot of these dispensaries open up in Massachusetts, they're selling at $16, $18 a gram, where the cultivator is only selling to them at $8 to $10 a gram. So that's a huge markup.
Well, there's no competition yet. So once competition comes into play, those prices are going to go down.
And that's going to be the best for this for the
user.
The user,
Yeah,
the community.
or the buyer, the client, whatever.
Yeah.
And we've seen that in the other states. Look at Oregon.
Oregon, yes.
I mean, come on, you can buy a pound for $300.
Absolutely.
And that's because there is no competition. I mean, there's too much competition.
Were they over-licensed?
And there's also no exporting of products, no interstate commerce, because it's still federally illegal.
Sure.
So all these things are affecting the growth of this industry. It's really not a conspiracy, it's reality.
Yep.
And it's unfortunate to see that. But what I really like about the industry, it forces these restrictions people to get really creative.
Yes.
And I meet in my travels a number of creative people who do things from using technology to expedite product and turning around, and the quality, the look, the feel, the taste, how you can do things in other places that you couldn't do before.
Yep.
It's really amazing.
It is.
And as a cultivator, you must really have gone through the different processes yourself.
Oh, always. I previously was in technology, and I was thinking, well, if I switch over to this, I won't have to be learning as much. But I'm wrong. I'm learning more every single day.
Right.
Since I've been in this business than I did previously with technology.
Sure. No, I love this business.
I do.
It invigorates me. It's the last chapter of my professional career.
Yep.
And I can't think of a better way of going out than spending it in cannabis.
Oh, did you ever envision that at this age that you would be in the cannabis industry?
Never in a million years. I always envisioned I'd still be using cannabis.
Sure.
But not that there would be a business for me to be in.
Yep. I got to say, it amazes me every single time I see, like my father, he's my partner.
Right.
He wakes up every day and says, I can't believe this is what we're doing.
Yeah.
My best friend is 65 years old, and whenever I take him to events, he goes, I've been ducking from cops my entire life. I can't believe we're going to these events and I can actually purchase, cannabis.
Well, listen, I spoke a few weeks ago at Friday night services at a temple.
Yep.
Because they wanted me to come in and educate the congregation about what's happening in New Jersey in politics with cannabis. Imagine being asked to talk about weed at Friday night services at a temple.
It's a different world now.
It is amazing. It's a great place.
Different world. So anyway, this is Ed D'Souza coming at you from NECANN 2019. It was my absolute pleasure to speak with Stu Zakim. Any last words?
No, thanks for having me, and let's keep going.
All right. Peace.
Peace.